Welcome everyone. Today I have an update for our massive elephant summoner for season 0.4. Looking behind me, this is a tier 16 map that is scaled with level 80, and here you can see the new updated setup which has a lot of flexibility. The first thing you might have noticed is I'm consistently getting Headhunter buffs. Yes, I have added Headhunters and also additional uniques to the build which greatly enhance our survivability, our utility, our mobility, and also even scales to higher damage. As you guys can see, for a tier 16, tier 15 map, as fully modded corrupted map, we have no problems at all. The elephant will one shot or melt anything around us, and we have tons of survivability. You can see that thanks to the Headhunter buffs, I now have haste aura, additional damage aura, and also tons of resistance. We can also blink by using the phase shift ability from the Headhunter. You can see that we're moving around, and you can consistently summon the elephant around you. I have also scaled the elephant to higher HP, about 240,000, or even higher HP if I push it to level 40. I'm consistently getting tons of auras, and my speed really boost up in mapping because of the buffs we're getting, and with additional usage of unique items and also charms, we have tons of survivability and even higher damage based on the companion life and also companion damage. So let's have a look at the demonstration of the boss fight over here. So this is not the DPS setup, this is the AoE magnify effect setup using the elephant. So to show you guys over here, I have prepared a number of testings. So firstly, let's have a look at the Headhunter in action using the highest level of breach. And usually I think this is a good testing. So what you are seeing over here is we have different variety of elephant. The current elephant I'm using, let me see, this one, yes. This particular elephant I'm using is not an area of effect elephant, but rather I am taking away the area of effect elephant off, and I'm trying to use a different elephant to show you guys that, yes, even if you don't have area of effect, the build can still work. So a part of this build is to enhance your experience of finding the elephant and what works and what is enough, because I've been spending the past few days catching new elephants, and it just got to the point I'm not playing the game as much, I'm just catching new elephants. Now, due to a bit of the misplay, I did lose a bit of life, as you can see at the start, but after I get my rotations up, things get much easier. Now, you can see that without the area of effect, the elephant is not killing enemies as quickly, and this is one of the things I wanted to show you guys. You can use another variety of elephant that deals even higher damage with more utility, but overall, the build is very sound. You can see we have about 13 Headhunter buffs with additional energy shield, and later on we can get another buff to blink around, and the build becomes extremely tanky as you stack more rare modifiers, which is definitely a plus. The Headhunter itself also provides us with additional stats, and you can see once you teleport the elephant onto the enemies, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't have the massive radius, it can still take the enemies down. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit towards the boss so that we can see the actual fight with the boss. The boss died pretty quickly. So again, against the boss, what I recommend is there are two choices. You can put on Feeding Frenzy over Magnify Area because you don't really need the area clear against the boss, and that's all you needed to do. I only do this for Uber bosses because other bosses there isn't really a need. And you can see I'm stacking about 17 different Headhunter buffs. I don't know what they are, but they're definitely helping. So my elephant also have the Temporal Bubble, which reduces the action speed of enemies, I believe, which is also great. Doesn't hurt to have more auras, right? This is a gigantic elephant. So once we get the buffs going, everything stacks up, and before we know it, the 15 million HP boss melts in a second. So similar to before, the current setup of the choices of skill links, the choices of new items, and also the changes of the charms and also everything related will be available to you guys. Now, coming back to my character, what I do want to share with you guys is I have made additional trait filters available for the new items we're currently using, and also I'll be updating the current build into the existing builder's guide. Now, very important, this video I try to make it more concise. The previous video was a little long as I explained a new build step by step, so if you are not sure how the mechanics work, how to catch your elephant, and also how to get the build going, make sure you use the timestamp from the previous video. and that is going to be very helpful. So this one, we're going to try to skim a little forward to look at the changes and what works and what doesn't. And I've tested a lot of different things, as you can see over here, which I'll go through with you guys. So coming over to the start, we are using elephants. And in case you guys didn't know, the giant elephant tortoise is the highest HP scaling monster in the game that we can tame as a beast. So we have 240,000 HP on the elephant now. Previous video, I had 220,000 HP. How did I get high HP? Is by using this particular unique ring. This particular unique ring is nothing special. Provide us with a bit of all stats and also rarity. This can be corrupted with more resistance, which is definitely welcome. And everything else doesn't really matter. The biggest part is you can socket emeralds into the ring. And here I'm socketing the companion 20% damage, 20% life. And I'll be mirroring this ring with the Calendra's Touch. So basically, I'm getting double charm sockets using the rings. Because it's hard to scale for companion and minion damage onto the rings, especially our minions are not hitting enemies, we're burning enemies. So we want to scale with maximum life and also maximum damage for the companions, and I found that by far this is the best one. Now you can have extra chaos damage, but that requires us to hit enemies. Elephant is burning enemies. So after a bit of checking, I think this may be the best upgrade if you have the additional resistance to make it work. Because this ring doesn't give us much resistance, it does give us tons of stats. So I got my resistance cap, which I'll go through with you guys how. So this is the first upgrade for the current build. If you are looking at the previous build over here, I was just using rare rings. Oh, actually, I was using my previous rings, not rare rings. You can use rare rings for additional resistance. I was using my previous rings for the additional spirit, which is not the biggest deal for this build because your elephants are scaling with percentage maximum spirit. And the previous video, I have a link for you guys to get 21 levels and also 23% quality for main and max result. You don't really need the 23% quality, guys. 20% is okay as well, because the 23% got really expensive after the video. Now, the second upgrade is gonna be those Headhunter build. The previous build I was using had massive mana, massive life, tons of stats I was missing, and also resistance. The Headhunter build, as you can see in the demonstration video, is amazing because who doesn't like Headhunters? And for summoners, you really get the chance to enjoy the best effect of Headhunter. But you can see, as I'm killing enemies with my elephant, I'm constantly getting different auras from the enemies, which I can buff my minions for movement speed, for additional damage, temporal bubbles, and just tons of utility. I'm also blinking around with my elephant due to the Headhunter buff. So, really loving the upgrade to get the Headhunter into the build. Again, you'll be missing some resistance, which we'll talk about. The Headhunter also gives us tons of stats. Because we kind of want some over 157 dexterity and over 157 intelligence, the Headhunter itself provides us with tons of stats. This can also be corrupted with even higher stats or any resistance you're missing. Now, how do you find the missing resistance? I recommend getting the gloves and also the boots with a 60% increased socket item effect, and then just socket for any resistance you're missing. So here for the boots is fire, chaos, and also cold, and here is all chaos. So this is how I got to all my max resistance to at least 75. You can find resistance on the focus, amulet, and also on the helmet, which can be more expensive. So because we talked about the previous build, let's look into some of the testings. The first testings I had is, oh yes, please do watch the previous video that explained the whole setup. I'll briefly explain it. We're scaling with minion life, minion damage, companion life, companion damage, so there's 4 multipliers to scaling. We're scaling with maximum minion levels and also plus additional minion life on wherever we can find with items. So getting the elephant to level 38 is because of this particular Druid, which can be a little expensive at the moment, but I believe it's around 300 to 400 divines at the making of this video. And right now with the inflation, things are a little crazy. The elephant itself scales with additional damage using this lineage gem, together with more damage using mustard, because we have lots of minions, and also more damage with feeding frenzy when you fight the boss. So this is another, oh no, this one, where's my feeding frenzy? I probably took it away somewhere, so let me find my feeding frenzy. Yeah, here it is. So elephant itself has 2 ways of getting more damage, mustard and also feeding frenzy. For the percentage damage, 30% more. This is even higher scaling because we have more than like 7 or 7 or 8 minions on the board. And together with the core setup with Infernal Legion, your elephant's maximum life burns enemies. And you do want the more magnitude of Ignite inflicted, which is a huge double multiplier. Against most mappings, you're using Magnify effect, and that is the standard setup. Now, to go from a little bit from here, if you really wanted to have the highest HP elephant, what I think it's possible, this is level 38. If you ever wanted to get to max level, you can use 2 of the plus rank skill gems. One is the minion skills, one is the Dallas Desire. This is how you get to level 40 with the elephant, and this is how I get close to 276,000 HP with elephant. Now, because the more damage does scale a little further, just for the efficiency scaling, I will go with this setup just for the high damage. But if you ever want to level 40 elephant, this is how you can be doing this. And those are the choices of gems you'll be switching around. Now that we're talking about elephant, all the other minions are here to support. We're summoning one of them, and the skeleton stone mages are here to kind of shock enemies whenever we can. And when they are shocked, they take a little more damage with Stonefire. Not the biggest deal. So you can see my current elephant. Let's talk about catching elephant. The previous video will teach you guys how to catch the elephant, but I'll realize that as I catch the elephant, I'll be spending hours catching the elephant. So previous video, if you come over here, it will actually show you like how to get the gems, the maps you'll be catching elephant. The bigger question is, when do you stop catching elephant? Because I've been going through hundreds of maps. I try to catch area of effect and also all damage shocks or area of effect with the additional multipliers of the scaling with extra fire damage, extra chaos damage, extra damage everywhere. But it's a little harder to find the right one, and I wasn't lucky, and I accidentally killed a few good ones. So what I recommend is you can have 2 elephant, one for mapping for extra area of effect, and one for bossing, for uber bossing, for extra fire, extra chaos damage. So technically, you do not need all the right modifiers to be on one elephant. It is perfect if you can get on, guys, but just to be honest with you guys, I spent the past 2-3 days trying to get a perfect one, but I couldn't. So simply put it, get one elephant with area of effect, and that's great for mapping. You saw how quickly we do tier 16 maps, and with Headhunters, it's incredible. Second to that, you can get one elephant with at least 1 extra fire damage, and then to go with extra chaos, extra lightning, extra cold damage, you can spawn multiples of those. I accidentally killed one with extra double damage, like extra fire, extra lightning. Now, if you find fire resilient, this is also great, because the maximum resistance for fire is what you wanted. If you can find maximum resistance to fire, you can save tons of points that is around over here. So I'm basically saving 5 or 6 points. If I can take those points away, that scales with more minion damage, because we have a lot of minion damage nodes that we're not using. So here there's a lot of minion damage nodes that can be applied. So those points are kind of saved up. So this extra elephant, if you find the extra fire resilient elephant, that save up so many passive points that can be allocated elsewhere. So now that we talk about the elephant, I'm recommending one for mapping, one for bossing, and I even tested a standard elephant. It is not as great. So the goal is to get area of effect for mapping and get the magnify area onto that one. And then for bossing, you get extra fire damage at least, and then to get feeding frenzy on this one. Now that we talk about elephant, let's have a look at the choice of rings. The range scaling, I really do recommend going with at least 20% maximum life and about 18% damage. You can go 17%, which is a little cheaper, because it is double scaled, so very good for this. Headhunter in that sense, you know, getting something with higher dex and also strength can really lower the burden of you requiring 157 dexterity. Now, I have tried those 2 sockets before, because you can see that this has 3% companion, 3% companion, and also tons of other great nodes. It is not great because we can't main max this one. I tried it everywhere, but I couldn't find a spot for this, so not recommended. Now, I have talked about the From Nothing Druid in the previous video, so currently using the From Nothing Diamond with Crimson Assault. And yes guys, all the item we talk about is listed over here. So if you come over to the trade filters on the previous video, you can see the trade filter links is all listed in the related video links. Oh, where's my mouse? So everything's over here. Now I'll be adding more links related to this video. So the Jew I talk about, the 18% and also 20%. It was selling for 1 to 2 divine. After the video, it got a little expensive to 7 divine. And let's see. So, where are we? Oh yes, I was going to talk about this. So this is very cheap for nothing. I previously recommended to consider getting Oasis or with Crimson Assault. I tried Oasis, and Oasis was like 10 Exalt cheaper. Crimson Assault was 30 Exalt and very cheap. Crimson Assault actually gave us the highest scaling with 12% damage and 12% maximum life. If you were to get Oasis, you'll miss this point. You get like this point, which is not as great. So I recommend getting Crimson Assault, and this will give you tons of scaling, which you normally wouldn't access. To go from this, you can consider a Mega Maniac Diamond. Now, Mega Maniac Diamond, it's a little harder because you kind of want the knots that you don't get. So the knots over here this is kind of so-so because you really want the companion life and companion damage, and you don't really get any great ones. So what I've found so far is just this one with 20% maximum minion life. And here we have the minion in your presence have onslaught when you're shapeshifted. But I don't shapeshift because I need the plus skill ranks to minions. So I don't recommend going with the Mega Maniac unless you can find 2 knots that is enhancing your minions. What I mean by that is, in replacement, you can have 20% companion and 18% minion damage or 20% minion damage. And this doesn't provide you enough to that. Onslaught is nice, but I don't shapeshift, and Onslaught with better movement speed is not a big deal because we're constantly teleporting elephants to us. Now, I did test the mana potion. Because we're currently using a magic mana potion, this actually is my preferred mana potion because when I cast a lot of spells, when my mana gets low, I drink the potion, it regenerates quite quickly. If you were to use a consistent unique potion, you will get a little consistent more mana regen, which you can see over here. It is about 99 and also 20 additional mana regen. And this, you don't get the 20 additional mana regen. But most of the time, the 20 additional mana regen don't do much when I'm in danger, because I'm mind over matter. And what this helps is, it gives me a burst of healing. Nothing too special, right? Oh, yes, I did forget, we also have an additional upgrade. I've removed one of the bleeding charms. I'm still keeping the stun and also frozen charms. I'm using the magic version because the chances when you kill enemies to get charges is actually better on the magic one. It's not even max rolled. What I'm recommending is, because we do tons of damage and we're face tanking most enemies, so I decided to go with the bear. Now, you can go with additional movement speed on the charms, which won't be cheap. I didn't feel I need the additional movement speed. When I'm getting haste hours, I was consistently getting 100% movement speed. Let me see if I can show you guys over here. So we did a speed run over here. At the end of the speed run, I think I was running around, so 83% movement speed, 107 movement speed, and this is before I got the haste arrow from the Headhunter buff. So I didn't feel like I need the movement speed from the charms, but survivability is good. So this charm wasn't cheap at the time. I think it went up a little bit in price. Definitely getting something that is over 17 seconds if you can. I was lucky to find a corrupted one with 1.1 second additional relative, but not a big deal. So with the bear charm, you're looking for the increase to maximum life and also 20% damage reduction taken. Very, very defensive. Because you're face tanking most of the time with your character, the 3 layers of defensiveness is this. We have Mind Over Matter, which give us the additional damage taken reduction. We have our life, and also each time we spend life, we'll be getting the guard. So there's 3 defense layers: guard, mana, and also life. You can pop 3 different potions or 2 different potions to tank up very nicely. And this just gives us 1 additional layer to tank up. Now, what else? I think that kind of highlights everything. I didn't go through the gears too much, but in terms of priority, you get +4 on the weapon. And in case you guys are not sure, the previous guide, I made a cheaper version. And if you look at the cheaper version, and make sure you look at set 2. Set 1 is my curse. I actually had it mixed up. Set 2 is when I use the actual setup. So with the set 2, you want +4 on the weapon, +3 on the helmet. So helmet can be corrupted for +3 over here. Make sure you get that one. It's quite cheap now. A few divine, I think. +3 on the amulet. Not recommended to go +4 because it's so expensive. And +2 on the focus. That is the biggest. And to follow up on that, if you can get +2 on the companion, it is recommended. If it is only +1 on the tame companion, you might as well go for one of the rare juice, which actually scales better and much cheaper. In terms of everything else, nothing has really changed in terms of my passives. As I mentioned, if you're lucky enough to find additional fire damage, or maybe you can find the area of effect together with fire resilient, which most people don't think about this, it is actually freeing up so many knots. It's free up this, free up that. So all the knots over here you see can be freed up. So I just got 6 free skill passives, or even higher. I kind of want this knot, but I got 6 free skill passive just by having fire resilient, because I don't need the maximum fire. And I can even take away this knot. So 6 or 7 free passive points, which can scale to like 60% more minion damage for all the minion knots around that is freed up. So that is something to look for. And skill rotations. Let's have a look at the fights and let's go over that. And I do have one more upgrade I want to share with you guys. Haven't had time to test it. So as you can see over here, when we start mapping, I'll go through mapping first with you guys. As we start mapping, what you can see is the first thing I do is, because we have life tab. Now, make sure you watch the previous video I talk about the combos. The Moment of Vulnerability is just a skill that allows me to use the life tab. This skill is also an unhit spell. So if you happen to have minions deal increased damage when you hit recently, this will actually allow your minion to deal 22% more damage if you find it on the amulet. Not cheap again, but if you find a +3 and this particular modifier, it is not bad. So by using life tab at the start of the fight, I could easily cast my Moment of Vulnerability, then I drink the potion. So very simple combo that gives me consistently 1000 guard, and this is up 90% of the time, 99% of the time if you keep it up. When you look at your guard, if it's lower, you just drink the potion, do the same combo. As for the rest of the build, it is designed to be a hands-free build. So you still have to press buttons to alternate between 2 weapon swaps so that Elephant teleports on top of yourself, and with enough AoE radius, and even if you're teleporting, the elephant will come to you once you swap your weapons. In terms of weapon swap, for those of you that are not sure, all of the minions are swapped to the main weapon, which is my second weapon, and all the elephants, everything is here. You do not want both to be activated. What happens when you activate both is elephants stop teleporting to you. So you get this one activated, you take this away. So this is where my main weapon is. So now the elephant will consistently teleport to me. This is incredibly strong tech. Now, Skeleton Cleric are the only 2 that is on both weapon swap, so that when I'm here on the Skeleton Cleric, this is the bossing rotation. I cast a curse, I cast my Pen Offering, and I cast another spell, it comes back. And the Pen Offering is actually not set correctly, I'll show you guys over here. Pen Offering should be set on the main weapon. So the combo is you cast a curse, you cast a Pen Offering, and it automatically brings you back to the main weapon. And this means that the curses will lower enemies' fire resistance, while the Skeleton Cleric are sacrificed, and then you get some free Abyssal modifiers because of the Sacrificial Lamb and this combination, and then you automatically swap you to weapons at 1. So that is one very simple combo. And during this time you drink a potion, you get your free guard, and tank up. And yes guys, if you do get both to 70 or 80% ping or stun threshold, you can use Moments of Vulnerability, and consistently using this ability will give you additional minion damage over here. You can find the knot over here as well when you hit recently, so this is also a similar one, and this also gives you the 30% more minion damage. In terms of anointment, a lot of people like to go defensive. I went for Warlord, it's just generally for all the minion builds, and here it's just 40% more damage and also more area of effect. And I think that should summarize all the update I have for this build. So before I finish, a sneak teaser. The reason I was recommending you guys to consider the 23% quality for the Elephant Companion is I plan to run 2 companions. So let me just show you guys over here. So it's great to have 1 companion, right? Imagine if I'm running 2 companions. So how you run 2 companions, which I did in the previous build, is with this particular Jew. You can get less damage, which is not a problem to minion summoners. And you can get less movement speed is not that good. So actually go for less damage because you want the movement speed. Because we're not immune to movement speed deduction anymore. So this means we get the 2 companions. And now if I find a socket, put it in as a companion, Ta-da! 2 companion. See? Double companion. And now, one thing I have tested. Unfortunately, guys, you can't run 2 companion that also burns enemy with Infernal Legion, because it kind of overlaps. Whichever one ignites enemy with Infernal Legion, the other minions that ignite will actually take away the opportunity to do damage. So I only have 1 minion that does Infernal Legion. But that said, I can find, and as a great aura minion, I can find something else as a secondary companion. And that is to be tested on the next build, how to min and max this. So currently using 1 elephant. In the future, I may be using tons of different companions as a combination. So before I finish, the 2 testings will be available for you guys. So here with Headhunter and also the speed runs. And I do believe this one. So this is a Headhunter speedrun. So I want to show you guys both. So here is the elephant with extra fire resilient. I think, did I name this correctly? Let's have a look. Was this the right elephant? Okay, actually I used the same elephant. So I wanted to show you guys the radius and also the effect of elephant when it doesn't have AoE radius. It shows you that you can still clear the abyss pretty effectively. But if you want to min and max, like I recommended, going for 2 different elephants, so yeah, you don't have to spend hours to find the best combination, is great. And yes, all the videos will be available as usual. And for those of you who want to see the build without going to the builder's guide, it is over here as well for you to have a look. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll be testing more elephants. After the elephants, I do have a few plans. I have been saving up all my currencies in buying the minion gems. Just to give you guys a head up, I will be testing specters to maybe plus level 40, plus level 20 with 38 with the rage summons with shamans next. And also to test things out, I might be testing the skeleton ravers. So those 2 are my next testing target. And then we're going to try the disciple for her ascension companions or the ascension talents for more minions. So stay tuned for that. Now hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters, and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Majestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I'll be aiming to post at least 1 Path of Exile video a day, and this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos.
Begone, foul creature! out of mana! Begone, foul creature! Fortune favors me.
Now, before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is gonna be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.